Hey you guys, what's up? For today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys an eyeshadow palette declutter video. So I actually have two drawers of palettes. Here's number one, and then here is the second one. I actually used to have four drawers of palettes, which is just like crazy. And even now that I have the two, I feel like it's still like you still have some breathable space, you know? So, but there are still a few that I want to get rid of. I'm going to be decluttering 10 eyeshadow palettes today, which might not seem like a bunch, but I feel like it still kind of is because eyeshadow palettes are my absolute weakness. So to get rid of them, it's like, oh, you know? But hopefully I can kind of give them a better home. The ones I'm going to be decluttering, I'll be posting on my Poshmark, which will be linked down below in the description box. And I'll also have my declutter playlist down below in the description box as well if you guys want to binge watch on any declutter videos that I have. So let's get started. I did want to start off by saying that this palette is actually at TJ Maxx now, even though I purchased it from Sephora a bit ago. It's my favorite thing ever. It's $25 there if you can get it. I would say it's an absolute must. Let's see here. I have two Pat McGrath palettes, which I, for sure, two? Actually, I have three. The other one is on my desk. Some of my palettes are actually not here, but this is, I would say, 99% of them. So I think I'm going to start with one of the Huda Beauty palettes. I know there's definitely one here that I want to get rid of. Mercury Retrograde. I actually don't own a lot like this. I love the color story. I think the concept, the whole design style is really cool. And I love the finishes in here, so I'm going to keep that one. New Nude, I'm also going to go ahead and keep. I actually have not given this much love, I will say. And then I have the Naughty Nudes, which I think with this one, first of all, I love the packaging, how it's like raised. I think I had it originally, then it shattered, so I bought it again. And to my surprise, actually, or to my not surprise, I never used it. I think it was mainly because I ended up purchasing the Patrick Ta palette, and I think I prefer the formula over this one. Again, even if this is brand new, I had another one. So I know what the formula is like, even though there are gorgeous shades in here. And if I'm going for a look with browns, pinky tones, golds, I have other palettes that I use, specifically the Patrick Ta ones. I just find that I gravitate towards those more. So as much as this is a fantastic palette, it's just been sitting here and I feel like I can kind of give it a better home. So I want to be like just firm with myself and see like, hey, I'm using this or I'm not, and I'm just not using this one. So I'm going to declutter this babe. Okay, the next palette I'm going to go ahead and declutter. It's probably one of these Ofra Cosmetics palettes. I used to be more into these little ones a bit ago, but I just find that I have, I'll be honest, I have way too much that I don't necessarily really have a chance to use. I don't really get to use all of them. So let's see what I want to say goodbye to. It might end up being this one because again, just a lot of tones that I already have a few times over. Sweet Dreams is actually one that I love. These tones are so pretty, especially this shade. It's beautiful. This right here was my palette that I created with them. I want to say 2-ish years ago. Unfortunately, it's actually not available anymore. But I have another palette with them that I did create and it's still available. So I love this actually. It's like one of my favorites. This is one that I don't love on me. Like the tones, the purples just don't look the best. So I actually think I'm going to declutter this one. This is in Galaxy. You get like a highlighting shade here, a metallic, and then 2 mattes as well as 1 satin. If you like these tones on you, they do perform well, but for some reason like these specific shades, I just feel like does not look the bestest on me. There are other purples that look good, but these I just was not into. So I'm gonna declutter that one. I'm just gonna put these little ones back. So even though it's only 1 out of the 7, I still feel like it's something. And then I actually have more palettes here by Ofra that I don't necessarily use. Well, firstly, this is my palette with them that's currently available. It's not limited edition, so it should be there for a while. You get a blush, highlighter, and bronzer, and then matte shades, metallic shades. You could also use my code, Liora, L-I-O-R-A, all capitalized letters for 20% off either this or, you know, your full order in general. Obviously gonna keep that one. This is one of my favorites from them. I have to get down with this again. It's so pretty. Oh, I have another one of my palettes here. This is like all beat up. I've used this to pieces. I have the Lotus palette, which I think I'm gonna declutter this one because I just don't really use it as much. I feel like the metallics are a little bit too, in a sense, chalky for me. And there are a lot of cooler tones here. Like this one just looks dirty on me. Like there's some cool tones that just look muddy on my eyes. So I didn't really love the looks I came up with when I was using this one. I do like this shade, and like this shade is really pretty, but I'm not gonna necessarily just keep it for 2 colors. So I'm gonna say goodbye to that one. I have these little ones here from, well, some of these are from e.l.f., from like the Dunkin' Donuts collection, which I still wanna keep, even though they were not really that good. These little ones by e.l.f. are much better. But the Dunkin' ones I feel like kind of fell short. I still wanna keep those for now. The Cookies and Dreams one, also cute. And then these by Physicians Formula, I want to play around with a little bit more because they're actually really nice quality. So hopefully after this I could do maybe like a shop my stash and choose out pieces that I, you know, want to use. Okay, next I think I'm going to say goodbye to this palette here by Jaclyn Hill. This is the Divine Neutrals palette. So you get a bunch of mattes on top and metallics on bottom. I did think the formula was, you know, it was okay, but a lot of these metallics felt really, really thick. Morphe has it a lot with like their metallics. It just feels very thick and very almost heavy on the eye. And then in addition to that, I felt like most of the looks I created with this palette ended up somewhat being the same. Like maybe like baby slight differences, but like pretty much in the same family, because a lot of these look the same. I just feel like I use it a bit. I don't reach for it anymore, so I'm ready to say goodbye. This was one that I was kind of contemplating, the Cinnamon Swirl one by Too Faced. It's really cute. I would definitely recommend this one over the Better Than Chocolate palette. This is much better quality. I'm curious to see what they're gonna come out for this year for holiday. We got my Patrick Ta Babe right over here, so nice. I have the volume 2 somewhere. And then, let's see, I think I'm gonna say goodbye to this one right over here. This is the Melt Cosmetics Brunette Eyeshadow Palette. I'll tell you, I just feel like the tones don't look the bestest on me. With Melt, their shadows are also ultra pigmented. So you really have to like be very, I would say maybe careful with them. I did not love the metallics. They just felt very short for me. Also, they had like a thicker feel and it didn't really blend out as easily. And I just wasn't obsessed with how the looks came out when I used this on my eyes. Like I like these kind of tones generally, but there was just something about this one that didn't keep me inspired. So I think I'm ready to part ways with this one. It's not my favorite from Melt, and neither is the, I forgot which one that one's called, Melt, the pink one. I forgot what it's called, but it's on sale at Sephora. It's been on sale forever, but yeah, this one also had, you know, kind of fell short for me, so I'm gonna declutter. Okay, I kind of love that I'm creating more space over here. I have these 2 palettes from Melt as well, which I'm also like in the middle about, not fully in love. Although the Rust palette I feel like would be a fantastic palette for the fall. I'm going to be doing my top 10 favorite fall palettes, and this actually might be in there. It's a pretty good one. There's just something about this one that like the shades just blend out easier, and also I like the tones in here more. But if you think about it, here are what the palettes look like side by side. I mean, they are pretty different. I feel like the brunette ones leans a bit more cooler in tone. I prefer this color story, the Rust, over this one. I just feel like for my complexion, it looks much better. And also with this one, you get more shades. I feel like you can do more. And then also because it has like a yellow, it makes a massive difference with the looks. So yeah, I'm gonna declutter the brunette. Like I said, I'm obviously gonna keep this one. I wanted to just let you guys know in case maybe you were contemplating or you needed a good full palette. If you wanted to get one, this is really nice. Okay, I'm gonna put these Huda ones over here. Fantastic. Okay, cool. So I think that's pretty much it for this drawer for now. We're gonna hop into this one. So far I got rid of 5 palettes. I'm gonna be getting rid of 5 more, I guess, from this little section. So I have these 2 from Lawless. The Baby One Lawless palette I used to be in love with. I used to use this day in, day out. Haven't used it in a bit. I'm in the middle with it. I liked it at the time, but I just don't feel as inspired with it anymore. I know that the Lawless Glam palette is one that I really did not love. I felt like the mattes felt really dry for some reason. And I just did not love how this looked on the eyes. It was hard to blend out, and it just, the mattes especially, just creased like insanely. Also, I feel like I do like these burnt orange colors, but I already have that with the I Love palette by Sephora. This is like heaven for me. It even has actually the black. This is so pretty on the eyes. This is in medium warm. It's like $7 on Sephora or $8, and it's gorgeous on, especially if you have brown eyes. So I'm definitely gonna get rid of this one. I mean, I feel like they are very similar in tone. And I do love this palette mainly. I did like it for this brown and the black, but they just didn't perform as well as I would love compared to the I Love palette. So I'm gonna declutter this. Still debating on this one, deciding if I wanna get rid of it or not. And then I don't have as much drugstore palettes. This one by Makeup Revolution is actually such a major hit. This is the light nudes palette. It's supposed to be like a dupe for one of the Huda palettes. I would say definitely one of their bests. A lot of their palettes I feel like are dry and they don't blend out too well, but I think that that one's amazing. I have a few Tom Ford ones, which I think I'm gonna still keep those. The next palette I think I'm gonna part ways with is this one from Artist Couture. I think it was cute and like pretty at the time. It came out a little bit ago, but I really just don't use it as much anymore. I just find that I don't really maybe even use these colors. Haven't used these colors in a bit now. I used to do more vibrant looks, and I feel like for a bit now I was maybe just kind of sticking to more neutrals, maybe like purpley tones, stuff like that. So I think I'm ready to part ways, even if I want to go for a colorful look, which don't get me wrong, I love colorful looks. I just haven't done it in a while. Then I have like a lot of Colourpop palettes. I can mix and match those. So I'm going to declutter this little one. Oh, but the formula was really nice. I found that the mattes blended out really well. They built up to, you know, somewhat of a intensity. And then the metallics felt a little bit more on the like, let's say PC side. Like they weren't as ultimately, like they weren't beyond smooth, but some way, somehow it did work out really nicely for the eyes. And I know for a while it was one of my favorites, but haven't used it in a bit and I'm just not that inspired by it anymore. Okay, the next palette that I want to declutter, not this one. This is so good. ABH has been kicking butt lately. I'm like loving their stuff. I have this Melt one, which I think is pretty good. See, like this is colorful, really fun. This is one like I'm kind of debating on. I just don't know. Like I want to declutter, but then I'm like, I don't know. But then I'm like, yeah, then I'm like, no. So I'm still gonna keep this, the Circo Loco palette. I will say goodbye to this one, the Venus XL palette by Lime Crime. This also was a palette that I feel like had its moment. I did use it a decent amount of times, a handful of times, a bunch of times. I loved it for like berry toned looks mainly and like pinky tone looks. This was one of my favorites. This was really nice. You also get metallics in here and then a selection of mattes, of course. So I think I've given it a decent amount of love, and at this point I'm just ready to say goodbye. Also, I'm not really that like into Lime Crime really anymore. I mean, they have exciting goods here and there, but I really just haven't felt, again, inspired by their pieces. I really have to feel inspired by something to actually use it. But yeah, they're just a brand that fell pretty short for me for a bit now. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna say goodbye. This is more of a questionable palette for me. It's a very mediocre palette. Really nothing special about this one, I would say. It smells good though, so I guess that's what it has going for it. I think I might end up keeping it for now, but also a palette that I would say fell pretty short. It's, I don't think, worth the money, and it's just very like typical and regular. For 2022, I would have expected a little bit more. Okay, so I did end up decluttering 8 palettes. Okay, next I have some little ones here from like Colourpop. You can use each one separately, of course, mix and match, and the quality is pretty nice. But I think I'm gonna go ahead and actually declutter the Lime Light palette. This is actually brand new. So sometimes I do that. Like I'll buy something, I'll have the intention of using it, but then I put it in the drawer and I don't really use it. That's why Shop My Stash would probably be beneficial in my life, for my life. So hopefully I'll be able to get to Shop My Stash videos more often. I did just buy new like studio lights to kind of spice up the space. I haven't been loving how the artificial lights look. So sometimes if the lighting is not the best, I'm not that into actually creating a full look because the lighting is not like amazing. So maybe that's why I kind of stopped Shop My Stash, but now hopefully I'll kind of get back to it basically. Anyways, back to my point. I love this. This is such a solid green palette, the Tinkerbell palette by Colourpop. Obsessed, because you have like browns and greens over here and they just pair so well together. They're not necessarily earthy tones, but they're very like fairy tale, like Tinkerbell-like, and I just feel like it brings out my eye color so nicely, and this color really makes the whole thing. If I want to throw in a brown from a different palette, like a deeper, like, let's do like a rusty-ish brown matte, I could do that, and then also throw one of these metallics on the lids. But great selection of metallics, and they're so like legit, actual, the life of butter. So yeah, I could do so much with this one. Although in a way, I wish this would be a drop deeper because these are pretty similar. But wow, so I'm gonna keep that one. But the Limelight palette, I feel like is that with a little baby difference to it. Like this brown would have been nice over there, but other than that, I feel like I don't know if I would be able to do a lot with this one because I need a few deeper tones, you know, a little bit more shades that are a little bit more saturated. Something to be a bit more creative with that wouldn't look the same, you know? So you can see the difference here. I personally prefer the Tinkerbell over the Limelight. The Limelight, like I said, is brand new, so I am gonna declutter that and keep Tinker. I love her. I also have this by Too Faced, which I'm contemplating about. I love the greens and like golds in here, but I didn't love the quality. I thought it was good, but I wasn't obsessed. I'm still gonna think about that one. Let's see what else. Oh, okay, I think it's this one. This is, yeah, by Artist Couture. Well, I have this. I haven't used it nearly as much as I would love by Pat McGrath, but it's so pretty. I only have the first edition one, and this by Pixie I would really want to get down with. I always neglect this palette, but I think it's stunning. Such beautiful cool tones. I have to do a look with this one. I just have to. Okay, but I am gonna declutter the Supreme Mauves palette by Artist Couture. So I know that this palette actually got a decent amount of negative reviews, and I mean, I wouldn't say it's the worst thing ever, but it's definitely not a palette that's maybe a breeze to use. The mattes, I want to say, are very, very dry, and it makes it so hard to blend out. Like, they're not like buttery and smooth and creamy in a sense, but I don't like when mattes are like a cream matte. I like it to be a matte, but have the blendability of almost like a cream. And a lot of other palettes that I have, like, have that, like the Patrick Top palettes, they're butter. These are not like that. And then the metallics in here, also, they're very, very piecey. So you do have a decent amount of fallout with them, especially this one. It looks terrible on the eyes and almost scratchy, itchy on the eyes. And I feel like really if you just cover maybe this color, right? Yeah, this is like one of my favorite colors. Or maybe these two. Like, it's just a palette that I constantly see over and over again. And I already have something like this in my collection. If I'm looking for like purple tones, let's say like these tones, the Natasha Denona, the Norvina ABH palette really is everything you want in that family because it's so, so stunning. You get your purple and pink in here, and it's amazing quality. So definitely I prefer this one over the Supreme Mauves. Let's see if they're even similar. They have some similarities. I'll give it that. Some, not too many, but similar-ish vibe. But yeah, I'm gonna keep obviously this because it's like literally one of my top 5 favorite palettes ever. And I'm gonna declutter the Supreme Mauves palette. So I think that's pretty much it. A little bit more space here now. So I'll put this over here. Yay, okay, awesome. Perfect. And then I know holiday season is coming up soon, so now that I have more space here, I'll be able to kind of situate everything nicely. I still have a few palettes that I picked up from Sephora that I have to haul, so they're not in here, so I'll have to put them in, you know, once I haul it, so I'll put them like in these empty spaces. But that's pretty much it. Let me show you the palettes I got rid of. Supreme Mauves, like I just showed you guys. 1, the Into the Limelight. 2, Ethereal Bloom. 3, Venus XL. 4, this is the Ofra Galaxy palette. Yeah, 5. Next we have the Melt Cosmetics Brunette. 6, Huda Beauty Naughty Nudes number 7, Lawless the Wine Glam, this is number 8, X Lotus palette number 9, Jaclyn Divine Neutrals palette, which is number 10. So even though it's only 10 palettes, I still feel like, you know, it's still pretty difficult to do, but I'm happy that I'm gonna be able to give it a better home. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Let me know your thoughts and comments below. Again, most of these palettes will be linked in my Poshmark. I'll probably give this Ofra one and this Ofra one free if you purchase a palette. First come, first serve, I guess. But that's pretty much it. Looking forward to reading your comments, and I'll see you all in my next video.